we compress effectively 2 years of legislation into approximately 5 months.
Because the Texas legislature only meets biennially, there's a lot of work to be done before the start of a legislative session.
The legislature needs to get working on issues long before the session begins in January.
As a result, the lieutenant governor in charge of the Senate will issue interim charges to get the ball rolling early. And when it comes to the Senate, Rice University's Dr. Mark Jones says Dan Patrick wields a lot of partisan power, too.
He effectively decides the fate of legislation in the Senate. If something's a priority for him, it tends to reach the floor and pass.
In April, Patrick issued more than 50 charges. Tuesday, he issued a much more focused spread of 21 charges, from state affairs and finance to criminal justice and education. Of note, Patrick wants to see lawmakers examine programs and certificates within colleges and universities that still have DEI policies and expose them as being harmful to the state's workforce interests.
It's a signal from the lieutenant governor that he wants the Senate to look at these institutions and see if they're following through with and complying with legislation that was passed in 2023.
While in the other legislative body and not the Senate, State Representative Brian Harrison says he applauds Patrick's priorities. He wants to see the legislature be good stewards of taxpayer dollars.
The last thing we should be doing is forcing them to subsidize things that are not only against their values, but that do not help the workforce of tomorrow.
Harrison says it's a very real concern that colleges and universities are skirting the law entirely or just calling DEI something else.
They might have been a little bit too broad, and some of our higher education institutes might be exploiting that to, instead of educating students, using those tax dollars for liberal indoctrination.
While it's unlikely all of the roughly 75 charges will actually become law, Dr. Jones says it's still an important glimpse into what we could expect come January. Reporting in Austin, Andrew Freeman, CBS Austin News.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and get the latest news by downloading the CBS Austin News app.